Joining me now is Carrie Severino, a former Justice Thomas Supreme Court clerk and Judicial Crisis Network president, and Mike Davis, a former law clerk for Associate Justice Neil Gorsuch and Article 3 Project president. Mike, let's start with you. We all know what's happening here. We know that this leak was done with a purpose, but even threats of justices, you know, they're taken seriously. But walk us through what may be happening in layman terms, if you could.
Yeah, I mean, if you're making threats against Supreme Court justices, you are violating federal law. There are laws on the books for assaults, for threats, for conspiracy, for obstruction of justice, and it is disgraceful that Attorney General Merrick Garland, a former federal judge himself, Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, FBI Director Chris Wray, the U.S. attorneys in D.C., Maryland, the Eastern District of Virginia, crickets from these people. This is unacceptable. These are real threats against the lives of Supreme Court justices, and they need to step up right now and do something about this.
Yeah, Carrie, we'll get into the substance of what's happening with the lies about the opinion. But that is a question, is it not? We're at a time where we've had 16 months of Democrats screaming incitement, incitement, insurrection, insurrection. And now Jen Psaki's kind of like parsing her words, mincing her words about what this is, this intimidation campaign, which I'm calling terroristic because I think it is, against the justices. Do they have adequate security, dovetailing from what Mike just said?
Oh, I sure hope so. I mean, I agree. I think this is one of the most concerning things about this leak. Not only does it strike a blow at the trust inherent in the internal workings of the court, but this is a real act of threat against the justices themselves. I know that they are ramping up security, but this is why I think, and a lot of us have said, let's just issue this opinion quickly. I think it's no surprise, though. I mean, Jen Psaki, remember, used to work for Demand Justice. This is like the most radical left-wing dark money group out there. These are the people who were praising the leaker, saying we need more Supreme Court leaks. This is the people who have a board member who says the Constitution's trash and should be scrapped. They want to have more justices yesterday, they said in the court. They're trying to use this to kind of pack the court. So even if they can't switch this decision now, or some have said even let's pack the court before the end of the term. Oh my goodness. It is no holds barred. It's any means justify the end here, and that's what's so disturbing about this leak and the threats that we're seeing.
Yeah, Mike, I mean, these are people who claim to be threatened by pro-life people praying outside abortion clinics, just silently praying. They think that's a threat, okay? But now, given what's happening, you know, it's like, oh, well, yeah, we respect the right to privacy. Here's how the CNN framed the threats against the Supreme Court today. Watch.
Law enforcement officials are preparing for potential violence in the Capitol and nationwide. Capitol Police are warning the far right is calling for violence against a religious group planning to rally for abortion rights.
There's a potential for violence against abortion clinic providers, abortion clinic staff.
Mike, this isn't journalism. This is just pro-abortion propaganda. We've had pro-life centers vandalized in just the last 24, 48 hours, which happens regularly. But now the threat is from right wing. I mean, no one should be threatening anyone here, but that's the framing of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's gaslighting. It's laughable. They're saying that these pro-life groups are threatening conservative justices. That doesn't make sense. I mean, these conservative justices are getting their threats against their life online and elsewhere right now, and the Justice Department needs to step it up. They need to start making arrests for conspiracy, for obstruction, for assault.
Carrie, I want to read a recent passage from a website a lot of lawyers read. It's called SCOTUS blog, and start from the premise that there were actually at least 2 leakers and 3 leaks. The first leak was to the Wall Street Journal editorial board last week. In substance, it was that the court had voted to overrule Roe, but that the precise outcome remains in doubt because Chief Justice John Roberts is trying to persuade either Kavanaugh or Barrett to a more moderate position. Carrie, knowing these 2 justices, a 15-week ban versus an all-out overturning of Roe. I mean, does that make any sense to you if that in the event is happening?
I think I don't know if there was a leak there, but I don't think you would need a leak to come to the conclusion that the Wall Street Journal did, because anyone who watched those arguments could hear that Chief Justice was just desperate to find some way to overturn or to uphold the ban, but not overturn Roe. And we all know that's not legally possible. And even both sides of the argument there said, no, I'm sorry, you can't do that. And you're seeing now he's being attacked and his address is being given out as one of the people who would overturn Roe, even though it's clear he doesn't seem to be trying to do that. Was he trying to lobby those justices? That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me, knowing some of the things the chief has done in the past. Does that mean that they were likely to have switched? I mean, we heard their arguments in December. I actually was very encouraged by what I heard from Justices Kavanaugh and Barrett from those arguments, because they both seemed to get it. Kavanaugh, I liked his language where he said the court should remain strictly impartial here, just scrupulously neutral, and not say we're going to be pro-choice, we're not going to be pro-life. We're just going to say, let the people decide these issues. Justice Barrett was talking about, the ability for people to give their child up for adoption, how this really shows how far we've come as a country.
We can see where they're going.
I don't think they were going to switch.
Yeah. Well, I would hope that all the justices would come out and unequivocally condemn these terroristic acts on the part of activists and say this will not stand, and they need to find this leaker or leakers, I should say, out of the Supreme Court. This can't be this difficult if it really wants to be found out. Carrie and Mike, great to see you both. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.